areas.
What do you think of the Tampa StarCraft 2 scene right now? What were your impressions of it?
My impression was it reminded me of the one that I went to in Oregon called the Civil War LAN.
Okay.
And that one was basically you brought your own computer, your own gear, and things like that. And it was a larger based local LAN rather than going to a LAN center where they already have computers and stuff. Because the LAN centers that I've been to that actually have the computers and things like that have always been relatively small. But the one in Tampa and then the one in Oregon was actually rather large. And the way it was set up was really nice. And when I saw the stream, I was like, wow, you know, that's pretty cool with the casters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to see probably a little more from Tampa eSports when it comes to that. And maybe you guys should put it on the calendar on TL. That way you're actually broadcasted on Team Liquid, too.
Indeed, that'd be nice.
That'd be really good. Did you catch both streams or just the master stream? Or
I only saw the master stream for a short second while I was waiting for my grand finals match. That's about it.
okay.
I didn't see much, but when I saw it, I was like, wow, you know, this... I don't know how you guys did it. Do you have like a green screen in the back, or?
Yeah, no. They actually have a TV set up there, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were actually out of state.
Yeah, they own like a LAN center, and I think like their parents own it, and they've got like the separate room set up as a studio, just for streaming all day.
And then then me and Alberona were in the back doing the other groups, casting the other groups. So we had like my huge TV set up and blocking out the entire windows and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting setup, but it was a blast for me.
So speaking of streaming, you do stream regularly. What are your normal hours, RuFF, when you're streaming?
My normal hours are like every day. Right
Okay.
now. For now. I think like around August 20th, though, I'm going to be doing school and working again. So I'm going to be stuck to the evenings, which is going to be probably, I'm going to estimate maybe 7 to 10 or 11 Eastern time.
Okay.
But as of right now, it's pretty much any time between probably like 4 in the afternoon to 4 in the morning.
So
Obviously,
a
I
lot.
take breaks to eat or something, but yeah, been playing a lot lately.
That's good. All right. And speaking of school, I don't know if people realize this, but you're a math major, just like Day 9.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
Did Day 9 inspire you to go into math major? Or was that your plan to begin with?
It actually was never my plan, and I wanted to be an architect, but the college I went to didn't have that, so I decided to go for math because that was what I was good at in high school.
There you go.
But I like the math though because it actually helped out a lot for my gaming, and because I use it in Starcraft too. Like I'll sit there and I'll calculate. I'll be like, okay, well, how can I do something a little more effective? Like let's say when I'm playing Zerg, let's say a Marine does 6 damage, right? So if a Zergling does 5 damage, if I rush the armor upgrade, it's actually better than combat shields versus Zerglings, which is a bit strange. Like you could take 12 hits instead of 11 hits. So I think about this stuff. And then if you obviously get combat shields and you have the upgrade advantage, you can take up to 15 hits over 11 hits, which is pretty nice.
I can never.
Medevac's healing you, you know.
We're lucky I remember to build overlords.
That's funny. Now, when I spoke with you in person, you said that you were actually thinking of pursuing a higher level of education in math. Is that still what you're thinking here?
Yeah, it's actually very difficult to find work, like a permanent job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a master's to go ahead and do that. Obviously, I would love to do something in gaming, but it's a little difficult. Plus, the economy is not great for it. Like in Canada or Europe, it'd be
Right.
pretty good because America's in this deficit. They don't have money to like actually have fun. So you never see any tournaments held very often in America.
Well, we're gonna change that.
Yeah, we're gonna try to.
You can try. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
I wish you the best of the luck because the first one was pretty damn good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we were a little concerned there the night before where we were up there till midnight, 2 in the morning, trying to get the power situation sorted out, and we only dropped the internet twice the next day, which I was surprised and happy about that it only went down twice with that many 150, 160 computers on it.
Yeah, that was a little bit bigger than even we had planned for, and the next one is supposed to be about 200, 250 people. So
yeah, gonna keep growing. Adding in, we still planning on adding in League of Legends?
Yeah, I think so, but let's not talk about that right
Let's
now.
not. Yeah. So out of all the games out there for esports and all the things that you could be doing, what drove you to play Starcraft as opposed to doing anything else?
Indeed.
Well, like I said, I did play Brood War for a long time. I did get into Guild Wars right after Brood War, and I did play MechWarrior. MechWarrior was a game, my very first game I've ever played.
That's my favorite game on PC.
Computer game based was MechWarrior 2. And then I actually became probably the #1 player in MechWarrior 4 over a period of time.
Yeah.
So, and I used to devise tactics and strategies, and I would say, okay, we're going to flank from this side. You guys are going to be over here. I actually had this geographic interpretation in my head of how the map was set up. And that's the thing about me. I like strategy games. I don't really like hack and slash games. So when I started playing Guild Wars, it was kind of the same thing because you had a skill base, you had to have your own party. But the thing is, when I got Guild Wars 2, it's kind of an upset because you can't really do that anymore. It's just like jump in there and start killing shit. And then I was like, I can't really play this game now. But StarCraft 2 is probably the most recent game that is actually strategy-based that I can actually enjoy, kind of like Brood War.
Yeah.
People have told me to play League of Legends, but I just can't get into it.
No?
Yeah, I played a little bit. Like League of Legends for me is kind of a relaxation. Like I don't really even play too much Starcraft lately, but League of Legends I can just hop on there and act stupid and not concerned about doing well, and I don't get that that anxiety that I get like in Starcraft, that feeling when things are getting close to either an attack, if it works or it doesn't work, you're either gonna die or win, and that kind of that feeling in your stomach. I don't get that with League of Legends.
Yeah, I'm not going to hate on League of Legends, but I feel like StarCraft is a bit more competitive.
Yeah.
A lot harder to play. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
League of Legends, everybody told me, RuFF, you should play it. You'll get 10,000 viewers because how good you are and how unorthodox you are, but can't do it. I just have to stick to StarCraft because I feel like it's a lot more challenging.
Good.
Definitely. That's what I like too.
All right. Actually, RuFF, I wanted to ask you, since you're going to stick with StarCraft, what are your aspirations in the next year?
That was going to be my question too. Yeah. I'm wondering where you go next with this.
Indeed.
I don't know. As you all know, I've been on VVV Gaming, or I was on VVV Gaming before they dropped the StarCraft team. They used to sponsor me to all the MLG events, so I would go to every single open. They pay hotel, things like that. They gave me all the gear I have, like the Steel Series gear that I have. So my goal is to actually get somewhere, like something I want to do is play a lot more professionally, like in that. And it's hard to have someone there to tell me about these tournaments. And I'm trying to get onto one of those premier teams, which I'm a bit surprised I haven't gotten onto in a premier team yet, but it's because there's a lot of bad blood from when I was in VVV with playing a lot of these players because I would always kill them on one base or something.
Yeah.
That they really dislike my play style. They feel like I can't macro, so I'll end up losing at tournaments, but I still go to MLG. I still, compete, and I still do well at these events, which is a bit strange.
What's the highest you made it at an MLG tournament?
Losers Champions bracket.
Losers Champions bracket. Wow.
Top 32. So one game from Championship Series.
Not bad at all. That's very reputable. Very respectable.
And this was the very first MLG. This was 2011 Providence. It's the very first MLG where Korean players actually entered the tournament.
Yeah. That's even more impressive because the Korean players really do put their entirety of their time into this. They're coming over on sponsored teams and they play and live in the house and all that.
I'm actually disappointed in myself for not getting into the StarCraft scene a lot sooner because when I played Brood War, I never thought about playing competitively, like in tournaments, things like that, or actually traveling. And I never thought about getting on a team. So when I actually did, it was a bit late in the season. Like you had all these players that were reputable. Like there were players I wouldn't be able to beat back then. Like let's say Adra, for example, who was good, or Huck.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that out of all the other American players, I'm like thinking to myself, if I got into MLG back in 2010, I would have made pretty much top 8 or something because of how the game was back then. Because every tournament I entered online, I would win like $50 here, $100 there, just by playing on these online tournaments. But I never went to any major tournaments, and I would always like win second or first place back then. But nowadays it's extremely difficult, especially as a North American player, because all the Koreans are in these tournaments now, to the point that the North Americans aren't really recognized as much anymore.
No.
Yeah, it seems like if you're not able to get on a team and get that where you pretty much can dedicate to, you know, like a professional sport where you're practicing in the house with other people and you kind of, you know, living the game, that it's a lot harder to get to that level where some of the Korean players have gotten to.
Yeah, I think WCS now is 15 Koreans in TLO, if I remember correctly, in the top 16.
15 Koreans in TLO.
Yeah.
TLO, the lonely one.
What can I say?
Hey, I beat TL yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
How many ladder games have you played, RuFF? Because your American account has got 13,500 games. And I know you play on EU and Korea.
Let me put it like this. In the past year, I'd say maybe 1,500 games, but majority of my games are in the past 2 months. Let's say 95% of my games, because I have had nothing to do. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. I might as well play StarCraft. You know?
Might as well.
At least wait until I start working.
Yeah.
When I start working, my games will probably go down, but I'm going to try to keep it up and play every day.
Okay.
Outstanding. Yeah, definitely send over any interesting replays you come across. I'll be more than happy to cast those when I do my show, or when we do I'm going to start doing that weekly coaches corner like we did last Sunday. It's going to turn into a weekly thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So, RuFF, the last question for me is there anybody you'd like to thank today on the stream, or any links you'd like us to share in the Twitch chat or anything like that?
Well, I'd like to thank O Gaming, because they were the ones who actually, let me put it like this, I've been extremely picky with joining teams, and they're probably the ones that dealt with my hassle for the longest time. They would just say, hey, you interested in joining? We have this to offer. And I'm like, give me a little bit. I'm thinking about it. And it took 2 months before I actually joined them, because I was still trying to like get on some kind of premier team. But, you know, what they offered was pretty impressive to me for not being that giant team out there that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And they actually helped me out at Anaheim as well when I did go. So that is something I do recognize, because normally people wouldn't be able to do that unless, you know, you have some manager who is a moneybags. Like to thank you guys, because you guys are pretty much helping me out there get my name around.
Good.
You guys hosting that tournament and me taking that risk to go down there actually helped out a lot.
Good.
You know, it was one of those situations where I went down there not because it was something I wanted to do. I did want to, but, you know, driving that far is like one of those things where it's like, you know, I can't really do it. But
I don't even like driving 30 minutes to go to the mall or something.
I was in that situation where it's like, I need to win this. You know, I need to help pay these bills, so I'm going to go down there and win it.
That's good.
That's good motivation.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's a StarCraft charity, and we'll call it a tournament.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Since when do you have anybody trying to jump into these tournaments to pay for their bills? You know, it's like a job now.
Hey, I don't know. I'm sure some people do it. So let me see if there's anybody in the audience that wants to ask a question.
Yep. And while we're waiting for them to hear for the delay, I got one more thing I wanted to ask you. You said, who do you want